Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we are back in Warframe to have a look at a weapon that I almost forgot about, which is the Bronco Prime. And to be more specific, it is the Incarnon version of the weapon because it just makes it so much better. This weapon is basically a little shotgun that has not that much range, and the spread on this thing, it is fine with the evolutions, the Incarnon evolutions, but it is still quite bad at a distance, but luckily there are ways to fix that. The Incarnon evolution does not change the firing mode at all, it just makes bullets ricochet onto nearby enemies. It does look a bit funny, but it's actually a pretty good weapon. Anyways, that's enough introductions for now, so let's jump into the build, starting from the Incarnon evolutions. The first evolution will unlock the actual Incarnon form that you can activate by pressing your Alt Fire button when the Incarnon meter has enough charge. This will increase your fall of range and also, as I said before, add the ricochet effect to your bullets. With evolution 2 we have two choices, and these are both quite good. I do prefer infused shots because it grants you more base damage whenever you consume 50 energy, which is a thing you usually do in Warframe in any mission. You just cast your abilities and you just get this buff for 10 seconds that stacks up to 4 times, giving you a grand total of 36 more base damage, plus an additional 16, which for this weapon is about 10% more damage, which is actually not that bad. The other evolution gives you only 30 more base damage, but if you have 1.2 or more sprint speed, it also grants you 60% more projectile speed, which allows your weapon to actually have an even longer fall of range. Moving to evolution 3, there are 3 choices here and you can choose the one you prefer. I just like having more accuracy because since it is a shotgun, it does have a bit of a spread whenever you fire the weapon, and having more accuracy will reduce that spread by quite a lot. And finally, for evolution 4, there's only one right choice to make, and that's going to be Commodore's Fortune, because this one grants you 20% more base critical chance, which on this weapon is pretty much needed. And on the Incarnon we now have 44% crit chance at base, which is just completely insane. This is much better than just 2 more base multi-shot, because the weapon already does have 7 as a base multi-shot, and going to 9 won't really give you that much more damage, while having more crit chance allows you to actually reach higher crit tiers, which then translates to more critical damage. And so these are going to be the base stats with all the Incarnon form active, and we have a fire rate of 4.17 on the base fire mode, a multi-shot of 7, a magazine of 4, which is a bit low, and a reload of 2 seconds, which is incredibly long for a weapon with that small of a magazine, so we are definitely modding for that. The Raven disposition is 5 out of 5, so if you do have a Raven, they can be tremendously powerful, and I actually recommend getting one because they shouldn't be that expensive and they make the weapon so much better. The base form has a crit chance of 26% with a crit multiplier of 2x, a 12.9 status per projectile, and a total damage of 462, which is the combined damage of all the pellets. Moving to the Incarnon form, it has a fire rate of 3, so a bit lower than the normal form, the same multi-shot of 7, and it can hold a maximum of 20 charges. The crit chance is 44% with a 3.2x crit multiplier, which is pretty high, and the status per projectile also went up to 25.7%. It does deal a bit less total damage, but that's fine because we have those higher crit stats. And this is the build for the weapon. Creeping Bullseye and Prime Target Cracker for more crit chance and critical damage, Prime Heat Charge for more heat, Pistol Elementalist for more status damage, and 60% more reload speed, which is a stat we absolutely need once again, and now our reload speed is 1.2 seconds. Semi-Pistol Cannonade, which grants us an additional 300% damage and 1.5 meters of punch through, and locks our fire rate, which means Creeping Bullseye's negative fire rate won't affect us at all, and that's incredibly nice. Galvanized Diffusion for more multi-shot, Galvanized Shot for more status chance and more damage after we kill enemies. Lethal Momentum as my exclusive mod of choice because I do find having more projectile speed very beneficial on this weapon. And finally, I do have this Raven, which is pretty good in my opinion, but you can replace it with Galvanized Crosshairs if you don't have a Raven yet. And of course, since my heat damage is pretty much through the roof, I'm going to use Cascadia Flare to gain an additional 480% damage. And that's pretty much the build, so let's now see it in action. As usual, I'll be testing against 20 corrupted heavy gunners with Steel Path modifiers, a level 230, which is the maximum level I can spawn, and yeah, they should be some beefy guys, so let's see what happens. First of all, we do need to charge the Incarnon meter, the little grey bar below my crosshairs, and we do that by hitting any weak point on enemies, which in this case is their head. When you do have some Incarnon meter charge, you can then press your Alt fire button, and this will transform the weapon into its Incarnon form. And now we can make use of that ricochet, which is gonna deal some very nice AoE damage to all enemies within 8 meters of where I'm shooting at. So it's gonna pretty much hit every enemy, which, yeah, I mean, they are quite close to each other. And yeah, it deals a lot of damage. They are already all dead from a cold start, which is impressive. And yeah, that's pretty much what the weapon is good at. The more enemies you're shooting at, the more ricochet you'll see. And this actually gets crazier, at least as I understand it. The more hits you register with the weapon, so like by having punch through, for example, the more ricochet bullets will spawn. And so that means that having punch through is actually a pretty good thing to have, because we're hitting multiple enemies multiple times, because we also have a lot of pellets. And yeah, that means there's a lot of those ricochet bullets happening, while we are also dealing a lot of damage to each and every enemy. And so yeah, you're just spreading a massive amount of projectiles around that do apply a lot of hit stacks and procs on enemies, and those hit procs do deal a lot of damage, which is pretty good. And this gets crazier, because I have not forgotten, if you do spend that 50 energy, you do gain more damage, which we can see up here with the infused shots, and we now have 36 more base damage. So let's see what happens. Yeah, we are dealing more damage to all enemies. Crazy. And yeah, as long as you just keep casting your abilities once in a while, like you just have to keep spamming your abilities, but usually with a Warframe like Oberon, for example, it's not a real problem. You can do it quite easily, and yeah, you get that massive 36 more base damage. But if you do not want to care about this, just go for the other evolution that gives you 30, and there's no condition for that, and it's more reliable, but yeah, it's a bit less damage. I do like this one more, but the other one is more consistent. I'm also going to use my Panzerupafila, because this is my companion of choice for applying viral, and I do have a full guide on this path if you care about that. But yeah, let's just get into whatever is going to happen with viral, which is obviously going to make enemies explode even faster, and I'll also use a little roar buff, because that never hurts anyone other than, I guess, the enemies. Okay, well, let's wait for our companion to apply viral. It shouldn't take that long. There we go. And we are now one-shotting everything. Yep, that's what happens. Millions of damage here and there. Everything is already dead. I didn't even try. It's a good weapon, right? It's a pretty good weapon. And yeah, that is the Bronco Prime. It's a surprisingly good weapon, and I'm impressed that I haven't seen a lot of people use it, because the ricochet having 8 meters of range makes it so you can actually hit a lot of enemies, and the ammo economy is insane. Like, you're only using 4 bullets every time to just charge the Incarnon. It can sometimes use more, because some enemies just don't like to line up or show their heads, but other than that, it's a pretty solid weapon, and yeah, I think you should definitely give it a try. The only nitpick I have about it is that it does require a lot of formas to build, so yeah, be ready to spend at least 6 formas on this thing. Yeah, I'll now leave you guys to the showcase, where I test this weapon for 5 minutes in a Grenadier Steel Path Survival, so you can see how it performs in a more realistic scenario. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, and if you like my content, consider subscribing. I wish you a beautiful rest of the day, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.
Keep it to myself. We don't gotta tell. No, nobody else. Nobody else. About you and I. Yeah, you make me feel so free. Yeah, you make me feel like me. Yeah, you make me feel so free. Yeah, you make me feel like me.